Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Cana and Mike's Movie Night here on the ECS Network. If this looks oddly familiar compared to the beginning of last week's show, it's because I'm taping this literally just seconds after I taped the first one. We are at the 25 Auto Drive-In in Greenwood, South Carolina. You'll find a link to them in the show notes. Definitely worth coming out here and checking it out. Wonderful drive-in theater. They're keeping up a tradition that they've been showing movies here since 1945. So some people out there who are as old as I am, and I'm not overly old, 35, will remember as a child perhaps going to the drive-in theater to watch movies. Or maybe it's something your parents or grandparents told you about. It's an incredible experience that I don't think you can easily substitute or recreate in a movie theater. So it's definitely something worth doing if you get the chance. And if you're in or around Greenwood, South Carolina, hey, definitely show up and check it out. Burgers are great too. They got a great little diner up here too that serves as their concession stand. So pretty cool deal. Last week, we checked out the first half of the double feature we're seeing down here tonight. That's Star Trek Beyond. Tonight, we are checking out Ghostbusters. This is the, I'm going to call it reimagining. I don't really think it's a remake of the original Ghostbusters starring Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd, but rather a reimagining of Ghostbusters, this time starring Melissa McCarthy, Christian Wiig, among others. So, definitely looking forward to checking this out. It's the all-female Ghostbusters. It's caught a lot of flack in the media, and I'm not sure why, although the maybe the Fall Out Boy theme song could have used a little more imagination to it. I don't know, but it's caught an awful lot of garbage, and I'm not entirely certain why, but I'm very much looking forward to seeing it. I know Cana is as well. She, when we found out that this was the double feature down here at the drive-in, and they do double features here 4 days a week, every week. So really cool, 3 different screens. One screen's even the kiddie screen. I kind of hate the fact that we're not there because I'd be shooting this on the playground instead of beside the PT Cruiser. But definitely looking forward to checking out Ghostbusters here tonight. Got Chris Helmsworth in it as well. One of Cana's favorite actors, Captain Kirk's daddy, the God of Thunder, Thor. So it's going to be a lot of fun. The question in my mind, of course, is they got a lot to live up to, calling it Ghostbusters and following in the footsteps of the Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and Ernie Hudson crew. So the question is, do they do it? Do they live up to the legacy that they are undertaking? Well, we're going to find out here shortly. So again, through the magic of editing and television, we're going to be back in the studio here in just a second. So stick around. More Cana and Mike's Movie Night as we check out Ghostbusters 2016. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Cana and Mike's Movie Night. As you could see, we started things out at the 25 Auto Drive-In in Greenwood, South Carolina. We are wrapping things up here. If you watched last week and it looks like we're similarly attired, well, it's because we're shooting this the same night.
Thanks for ruining the magic of it, baby.
Well, I believe in full disclosure and transparency. The reason why is because we stopped and talked about it briefly, and we really don't want to prolong our agony and talk about Ghostbusters next week.
It was so bad, I'm going to kind of continue to work on my project.
So, I'm going to get this...
That's how bad it was.
I'm going to get this out of the way right here, right now. This movie is garbage. It is not garbage because it stars 4 women.
No.
I'm going to get that out of the way real quick.
It is garbage because it was crap written.
Yeah,
And they cut out probably very important things to actually help you like it.
So, we're going to start with the basic story. And the basic story is a very familiar one if you are a Ghostbusters fan, at least the beginning of it. We have a number of disgraced professors and scientists who are going to, through the paranormal, make money and fame. That's the basic plot of Ghostbusters. In as my wife tries to assault one of our cats.
It's more entertaining than that fucking movie was.
That's the first F-bomb for those of y'all following at home with the
We're going to turn it
movie
into a
night
drinking game.
That means that's one shot, folks. But anywho,
you know what? One day I'm just going to do it all the time so everybody will be trashed by the end of the episode.
One shot per F-bomb. If you want to get sloshed, go watch episode 1.
Fair.
So, but that's the basic plot, is they're disgraced scientists. They're going to through the paranormal, get their fame, their fortune. The...
I kind of was hoping the ghosts would win. Is that wrong?
No, not for this one. In the original movie, we have someone in the 1984 Ghostbusters. We have a legitimate paranormal threat in Gozer the Gazarian and so on. In this feature film, we have a dude who you don't even realize is the bad guy for most of the movie. Yeah. Who basically just wants to open the floodgates and bring the dead back to Earth. That's it.
Just to torture people.
Just to screw with people. That's his plot line. So that's the plot. The characters in this film, amongst the Ghostbusters, the main four, you have Melissa McCarthy's character, who... Okay, not terrible. I'm being generous. Not terrible, but... And actually, believe it or not, fairly well played, I think, by Melissa McCarthy. But my problem is she played... Abby Yates is the character's name. My problem with the character... Here's bottom line. They're not going to be able to do Ghostbusters without getting compared to Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Part of the dynamic of the original movie is the main three characters. The con man, the scientist, and the dreamer. That's your three characters. Peter Venkman, Egon Spangler, and Ray Stantz. Melissa McCarthy should have been the con man.
Yeah, but she wasn't.
She wasn't. She was the scientist, one of. Whereas I think she would have been terrific if she was a riff on the Bill Murray character. If she was a riff on Peter Venkman. But they didn't do that. You have Erin Gilbert as played by Kristen Wiig, who is the legitimate scientist with backing and a professor and so on. Who should have been the Egon Spangler of the outfit. Either the Egon or the Ray Stantz. Either one.
And wasn't.
And wasn't. She was another scientist. Which is... and her character wasn't bad. I didn't find any of these characters likable. Which is a major flaw in what is essentially a superhero movie. If you don't like the heroes, you got a problem. My wife's least favorite.
Oh my gosh, I hated her.
Kate McKinnon.
God, I wanted her to die so many times.
Kate McKinnon plays Gillian Holtzman, who is, for want of a better term, she is the Ray Stantz of the movie. She is the dreamer, the techie, and so on.
She's the crazy-ass bitch who should not have been cast because she really bugged the shit out of me.
I think she pulled off her character better than the other two. But again, it is a somewhat annoying character.
I think you're being delicate about this, baby.
I am. Leslie Jones as Patty Tolan. There's the one character in the movie that I actually liked. I liked Patty. Because Patty was amusing. And I will say this. The character that gets the shaft in the original movie is Winston Zeddemore. Who, for those people who don't know, Ernie Hudson playing Winston Zeddemore, the role was never meant for Ernie Hudson. The role was actually meant for Eddie Murphy. But Eddie Murphy couldn't do it. And so the role, for one, got reduced a little bit, is my understanding. But certainly it wasn't going to be the same kind of character with Ernie Hudson playing it as opposed to Eddie Murphy.
Right.
In this case, the role was always meant for Leslie Jones. The character was always going to be this way. And so you get a character that at the very least gets to do more than Winston did, and gets to be
Yeah.
more integral to the movie. And I like the fact that they give her character purpose. You have 3 scientists who know squat
About the real world.
about the real world, and that's where Patty comes in. She is the hardened New Yorker.
She is the one bit of common sense in the midst of this madness.
Yes.
Which frightens me.
It should. It really should.
You know, I did like her character. You're right. I did like her character. You know what another character that I liked?
So we found the one thing we liked about this movie.
No, you know the one thing I liked about this movie?
What's that?
The one thing. The one thing. The one thing. You have to make it through this long-ass movie to get to the one good thing. The post-credit sequence where Chris Hemsworth dances.
Okay. Chris Hemsworth plays a character named Kevin Beckman,
Which was pointless.
who is effectively... Now, for the record...
He's the eye candy for the girls to come
you
watch.
you have the god of thunder, Thor. You have Captain Kirk's dad. You have someone that can act. And
he doesn't
yet,
have to act through the entire thing because they
Yeah.
want him to just be eye candy. Tight shirts, tight pants, show off the arms, show off the ass. That's why he's there.
in a movie with Melissa McCarthy and Leslie Jones and Kate McKinnon and company, Chris Hemsworth is cast as the comic relief. Something has gone wrong. He is effectively our Janine for this movie. He's the receptionist and nowhere near as competent. So by the end of the movie, he does figure out how to answer a phone.
We think.
Although he does wind up being possessed by our villain for much of the movie, which is when we actually get to see Chris Hemsworth do something worthwhile in the movie, other than just be a buff dude.
Eye candy.
She enjoyed that part.
I told you which part I enjoyed. I enjoyed the part where he danced and made everyone else dance with him because he was possessed and made everyone dance with him. That was the only good part. And we had to make it through the entire fucking movie to get to that point.
Now, I'm going to say this.
That's 2 shots now.
Yes, we're up to 2. Hope you're not drinking anything hard. So, you know what? I think I just figured out what's wrong with this movie. They tried way too damn hard.
Yeah.
And it never clicked in my head, literally, until I'm looking over like the cast list and some stuff. They tried really, really, really hard.
They were trying to make the next Ghostbusters. And it backfired.
Literally, with the exception of Rick Moranis, every key member of the original 84 cast is in this movie.
That's true.
Harold...
I miss Rick Moranis.
Yeah. He is like retired from
I
acting.
know, but he'd been retired for years anyways.
Yeah, but he's one of those guys. He's one of those rare instances of an actor who, when he quit, he actually quit. He retired and stayed that way.
Or maybe he just realized what a mistake it would be to step out of retirement to come into that movie.
Harold Ramis, the late Harold Ramis, Egon Spangler, one of the creative forces behind the original Ghostbusters franchise, is actually in the movie. There is a bust of Harold Ramis at Columbia University that's supposed to be some late great scientist, not Egon Spangler. They actually do go out of their way to show that they're not portraying the original characters, and the original Ghostbusters had never appeared in this universe. Bill Murray is the only one that actually has anything to do with the movie. I was hoping he was the bad guy. Bill Murray plays a character named...
he was the bad guy.
Plays a character named Martin Heiss, who basically is a debunker of the supernatural. He gets killed.
Quickly.
No, he actually lasted longer than any of the other characters when they showed up.
Well, that's true.
Dan Aykroyd is a cabbie in the movie who may or may not actually be Ray Stantz, because he certainly talks like Ray and acts like Ray and knows way too much about ghosts and ghost busting than a cabbie in New York probably should.
Fair.
Ernie Hudson is Patty's uncle.
Who owns hearses.
Who
because
owns
he owns a mortuary.
Yeah, who owns a funeral home and is where our heroine stole the Ecto-1 from. Sigourney Weaver doesn't show up until quite literally the end of the movie. She is apparently Holtzman's mentor. Annie Potts is a hotel desk clerk who is blatantly playing Janine if Janine were a hotel desk clerk.
Well, isn't that the same thing?
Yeah, more or less. They give her a different name. So you have all of that, all those characters in the movie, but the bottom line is, like I said, they tried way too hard. They shoehorned in all the cameos. With the exception of Martin Heiss, none of those characters actually had a reason to be in the movie. None of them.
They were filler.
Still, there was no point to them being here. And then if you go and you look at the end of the movie, like Slimer's in the movie. Don't know why, other than it's Slimer. And it's Ghostbusters.
And it was some comedic relief because
Slimer oddly saves the day.
Yeah. So really, is he the hero of this movie?
Yeah, he helped it end.
Oh, thank God.
The projectionist would have been my hero if they'd have shut the machine down.
Yeah.
The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is in the movie in the form of a Macy's Day balloon. They like I said, they tried really, really hard.
If there was an option for a cameo, they took it.
Yeah.
If there was an option to show you what they did in the original 1984 Ghostbusters, they took it.
And I, you know what?
And then they cut out all the other good stuff that possibly was in this movie and threw it on the cutting floor and said, "Fuck this shit."
So that's 3. And then I would be remiss if I didn't do this because it's what I did to Into Darkness a few weeks ago. And then these jerks at the end of the movie cut and pasted the end of Ghostbusters 1. All the way down to the exact line of what would happen if they did this really bad thing. They put over in the movie that basically the cab of Ecto-1 on the roof is essentially a nuke. And that they should make sure it doesn't get blown up because bad things happen. So, what's the plot device at the end of the movie? Drive Ecto-1 into the hole and blow it up. Which would cause a complete protonic reversal, which is the exact words uttered by Egon Spengler, or no, it may not be Egon, it may have been Ray Stantz. Anyway, uttered by somebody in the original movie.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't.
But it was a cut and paste job there for a minute.
You know, but what I was proud of, baby, you did not watch the original Ghostbusters before we went and saw that.
God, I wish I had of, because I would have at least had a good movie.
No,
we're going to watch the original Ghostbusters at some point on this show to cleanse the palate.
That's fine. But no, it would have made it a bigger mistake. It was a mistake to see that movie in the first place. It would have been a bigger mistake.
Now, and because it wasn't the costumes that bothered me. It wasn't the...
I liked the costume.
Yeah, it wasn't the casting that bothered me. It was... My exact words when we left the theater, there was a good movie in there somewhere. I just don't know where. It was probably on the cutting room floor. Because they really left a lot of stuff out. It felt, to me, incredibly rushed. And another massive mistake I think they made in this movie is with the technology in the flick. You see them make everything. And I have long used the phrase, in a film like this, and something that's got the fantastic elements of this, explain it all or explain nothing.
Don't give us a little bit here and a little bit there and hope that we fill in the blank spots. You
either need to explain everything so that you know the rules, you know that this stuff works this way or that way, or you need to explain nothing and have all the characters act like it's always been that way, and thus, through the actions of the characters, you buy it. Well, in this movie, they sort of wound up somewhere in the middle, and we see them go through this Iron Man-esque series of misadventures, building the technology through which they will bust ghosts. And number one, none of these guys have the comedic timing of Robert Downey Jr.
Or the amount of being able to put away that much food.
Yeah. But the other part to this is, to me, it got in the way. One of the most brilliant parts of the original Ghostbusters is the extent of where does the technology come from, how do they build it, what is it, is literally a scene in an elevator where Dan Aykroyd looks at the other two and goes, you know, I really wish we'd have had a chance to test these things before we took them in the field. And that was it. That was the extent of it. And that they were all carrying unlicensed nuclear accelerators on their back.
And instead, in this movie, they tested everything and knew what it would and would not do without showing us exactly it being successful.
Yeah, we get to see everything screw up, but we never really get to see anything work until the end. And now, for the first time on this show, I will utter Martin Phillips, who is one of our close friends and someone that you may eventually see on the ECS network, one of his trademark phrases. This movie is visually stunning.
Let's not even give it that much of a compliment.
No, I will, because the last 10 minutes were beautiful.
The post-credit sequence was beautiful, baby.
The post-credit sequence was Chris Hemsworth dancing around a lot, which
in
you
a
may
tight
find,
t-shirt and jeans,
which you might find beautiful, but did nothing for me. But
well, I'm not just talking about him dancing. He made all the little policemen do the dance too. That was beautiful. It was kind of funny.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, sweetie. And just, you know, when we talk about Suicide Squad next week, or in a couple weeks. That ass.
That ass was nice. I'm equal opportunity.
Anyway, it's far more information than we need to broadcast on YouTube. I know, people have done worse on here. But
that's right.
They show us all the screw-ups, which leads to
none of the success.
With none of the success, which does lead to the end of the movie, where it's basically a big-ass ghost battle royal in Times Square, which is a really cool action scene, really cool final set piece,
really pointless,
with no stakes, with no purpose, with no nothing. It didn't feel like they earned anything. It didn't feel like they had anything at risk. It felt useless. And the final bad guy is the frickin' Ghostbusters logo. Really? Okay, it's the ghost from the Ghostbusters logo. We told you last week that, you know, we were going to try to remain relatively spoiler-free because the movie was still in theaters, and I think Ghostbusters is still in a few theaters somewhere. But we're saving you money, folks. Just don't. If you
need to see it, join the Red Box Play Pass. You watch 10 movies, and then you get a free one.
And you could use that freebie on something a hell of a lot better than Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to, because we're try to be somewhat objective.
No.
Something good, and then a major gripe.
I told you what my something good was.
Okay. Other than Chris Hemsworth in a tight shirt dancing, something that actually had to do with the bloody movie. Something good.
That had to do with the bloody movie.
No, it didn't. It was credit.
No.
Good.
No. You know what, baby? If you want to tell me about how nice Harley Quinn's ass is, I'm okay with that. And if you say that was the best part of Suicide Squad, I am okay with that.
It wasn't the best part of Suicide Squad. It was nice, but it wasn't the best part. Other than Chris Hemsworth, something good about the movie. Wow. Anyway.
I can't think of anything good.
Patty Jones. Or Leslie Jones or Patty Top. Our New Yorker. Our New York chick on the cast. That's something good about this movie. The one good thing. Leslie Jones played Patty Tolan. That's my favorite part of the movie. Is her character. The power of Patty compels thee. I wish the power of Patty compelled the writers.
Yeah. Okay, I liked that.
Yeah. Her character, to me, was easily the best part of the movie. Everything else was terrible.
Everything.
The visual effects were great.
Which
They were not going to be. They were going to be great no matter what. But it was the plot was non-existent. The pacing was terrible.
I still have no clue what that movie was supposed to be about.
Yeah, it just wasn't good. If you want to see Ghostbusters, go find the first one. I mean, which is not to say that even the original cast didn't screw it up, because they did. Ghostbusters 2 happened. But
well,
they wasn't
the only
this
thing
bad.
I might be able to have hope for in redeeming this movie is if there is an extended cut that actually gives a point to that movie.
I would
and
say
even
that.
then, I would question us purchasing it.
I will probably wind up saying we should get it at some point, but
I will get it for you when you retire.
it's in 30 years.
That's right. That's how bad that movie is. Maybe by that time I will let go of my grudge.
To give you folks at home, an idea of how bad this movie is, in the August 10th edition of the Hollywood Reporter, Jeff Bach, who is a box office analyst for them, said, and I quote, "I just can't fathom the creative talents behind it, Paul Feig, Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, etc., slogging out another one when the reception for the first one was so mediocre." It was also noted that Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy, Entertainment Weekly, had pointed out that neither of them were contractually obligated to appear in a sequel. They didn't do one of those multi-movie picture deals when they signed the contract.
Was probably because they knew what shit they were walking into.
Supposedly, there was actually going to be a male Ghostbusters reboot had the female one succeeded. It was bad enough that it scuttled the male one. It was bad enough that it basically scuttled any future Ghostbusters reboot for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
So, there you go. Is what it is. Final thoughts and final verdict.
It sucked. The best part is the post sequence where Chris Hemsworth dances and makes all the other little policemen dance. And that is a cell phones up and obviously a crochet up even for the review.
In the words of John Lovitz from the fantastic classic cartoon show The Critic, hated it. And I had my cell phone up while I was talking, obviously. So, yeah, 2 cell phones up. That is officially the worst movie we have watched thus far on Cana and Mike's Movie Night. Don't worry, there are more coming.
I still think Pride and Prejudice still ranks at the top.
No, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies actually had more redeeming qualities than this.
Oh gosh, that's depressing.
I'll put it in perspective. Here's how bad I think that movie was. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies did more on a budget of $28 million than this movie did on a budget of $144 million. Which this movie has somehow managed to make $217.5 million at the box office. I'm assuming on name alone, because it damn sure is not because it's a good movie.
No.
So, and we were among them. We were among the many millions
I'm
who got
telling you,
duped.
we didn't pay for that movie. We paid for Star Trek Beyond. We did not pay for that movie. That was a freebie. I'm willing to pay $10 a ticket for Star Trek Beyond. I'm not willing to say I paid anything for that shit.
So there you go. Folks, Next week, we will be talking about a much better movie, Batman vs. Superman, the Ultimate Edition. It's the Blu-ray. We've heard very good things about it. We've never seen the theatrical cut. I don't know that I'm brave enough to watch the theatrical cut. I've been told it's garbage. At least
We're not going
brave
to.
enough to watch it for the show anyway. I'll watch it sometime later. After that, we are going to be doing our tribute to the late, great Gene Wilder when we review Blazing Saddles. And then the following week, it is a trip back into the DCU for Suicide Squad. All of that's coming up here in the coming weeks on Cana and Mike's Movie Night. Please don't forget to check out all the other great shows here on the ECS Network, DenziCast, Your Rage Quit Radio, The Announcer's Booth. Don't forget that you can check us out on Twitter. It's at ECS Podcasts. That pops up after the flip when we're done talking. And don't forget to go check out all of our sweet merch. You can go to cafepress.com/ECS Network and check that out. Help us get some new equipment and such. As you can tell, we're actually obviously on the same test equipment we were using last week, trying to see if we can how all this stuff is going to look this way. Hopefully it looks pretty good, and hopefully we get some new equipment and stuff down the line to improve as we continue growing here on the ECS Network. So, until next time, when we hopefully watch something a damn sight better than I'm Mike.
And I'm Cana.
And we will see you next time on Cana and Mike's Movie Night. And not for this movie.